This morning I was at the gym and it struck me how busy it was. There were so many people there. And I'm thinking at first why, and then I realized, well, of course, New Year's resolutions. All these people are showing up for the first time for 2023, and they've got high goals. They want to transform. They want to get fit and fabulous. They want to lose weight. They want to have more muscle. And so my question today is, why do people make New Year's resolutions, and why don't New Year's resolutions work? Because from experience, what I see every year is people that come in with the best of intentions, and then, within the month, they're gone. They're not there every day anymore. So, well, first of all, let's look at what why people make resolutions. Is because there's a pent up need. They've been kind of knowing for a long time that they want to make a change, and then they decide, well, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it after the holidays. I'll do it when. So they make it always conditional upon a certain thing shifting, when in fact the reality is all we ever have is today. But, typically people either start at the beginning of September or they start at the beginning of January. And then, they show up as a crowd to the gym, and they feel self-conscious and awkward, but they mean well. What ends up happening is, well, it's the delayed gratification. It's that saying, I'll do it when, making it conditional, and then showing up and suddenly not really feeling like doing what it takes, because this isn't a destination. Being fit is not a destination, it's a process. So let's step back a bit and look at what the four stages of transformation are. And then I'll explain how, from personal experience, I can vouch for this process, not just as a coach and trainer, but as someone who has been there, done that, in a couple of different areas in my life. So, first of all, there's the excitement phase. Today is a good example. People getting into the gym for the first time. That resolution, now Christmas is behind us, it's time to get going, right? Well, that's the excitement phase. Let's call it the inception stage. It's where, I'm all gung ho, I'm super enthusiastic, I can't wait to get started. And then what happens is reality check. The little voice inside will start saying, who do you think you are to suddenly do this when you've been delaying for so long? You're just going to get the same results. You're just going to give up again. You're not going to get anywhere with it this time. Why is this time any different? And that little voice instantly starts to sabotage your dream. It's normal for that to happen. It's the little fears, it's the self doubts that instantly start to creep in the minute we tell the universe that we want to do something important, something special, something that will take our lives to a different level, that will create a better future for ourselves, healthy, more energized, stronger, fitter. So there's the inception stage, and then deception stage is where the little voice becomes louder than the dream. And this is when most people will stop. They will give up right then and there. They went to the gym, they felt self-conscious, or they start a diet and they feel self-conscious. They're not eating the same as perhaps their friends are anymore, and they're realizing that maybe they're not enjoying it as much. Whatever, okay. And that little voice now is also going to say, well, these weights are kind of heavy. This is kind of hurting. I don't like exercise. I'm not having fun. I'm not in my element here. I feel like an outsider. I'm not as fit as some of the other people here. And people stop. They give up. And that's right when the right thing to do is actually knuckle down, trust the process, and just keep showing up. Another thing people do that sabotages them is they set too lofty a goal. This has to be done in little bits and bites. You don't eat an elephant all at one time. You eat it one bite at a time. And so it's that, how can we break this down into small steps on a wellness journey, falling in love with the process instead of thinking that it's all or nothing. It's always simply yes and tomorrow's another day. And you think of the four agreements with Miguel Ruiz. I mean, one of them is always do your best, and your best is good enough. And the other is to be impeccable with your word. And I'd say right now it's the word you have, the promise you make to yourself. It's that self promise that that's a measure of your character, of your integrity, and it's about doing something consistently, just a little bit consistently every day. And if you will trust this process, a really good step to do is to actually have a coach, have a personal trainer at this time, someone to hold you capable and accountable, doing something with friends, to have a buddy. All of that is a good thing to do, because if you will trust this process and you will show up daily for the furthering of your goals, what happens over time? Let's give it 3 months. It's not going to happen overnight, but what will happen over time is that you will look back 3 months from now, and instead of saying, I don't like working out, it'll be like, I can't imagine not working out. It'll be, I don't like eating healthy, this is boring, or whatever. Instead, it'll be, oh, now that I'm in touch with understanding how my stomach feels, how my body responds to food, I'm much more willing to eat to live instead of live to eat. It makes that big a difference. From personal experience, I'll give you a couple of my own examples. I remember, and I'm going to give it in two ways. One is about saying no to things that don't serve us, as well as then saying yes to things that do. They both require the same attitude towards change. Many years ago, I decided to quit smoking. I was a regular smoker. And at the time, I wanted to have a family, I wanted to have a baby, and I knew that being a smoker and being pregnant was not a good combo. And my mom had been pleading with me to quit, but I never wanted to. But I finally decided one day, okay, today's the day, except that I didn't say, I will never smoke again. No, no. Instead, I said, I'm not going to smoke for the next 10 minutes. And then it was, okay, well, that worked well. I'm not going to smoke for the next hour. And then I ended up stringing the hours together. And it was, you know what? I'm not going to smoke today. And then it was, oh, okay, I did that. I'm not going to smoke tomorrow morning either. And it was always just in tiny bits and pieces. I never said I'll never smoke again. And yet I never did smoke again. I ended up, looking back, realized I had ended up quitting smoking cold turkey, but not with the intention to do so, only making my promises to myself on a tiny, one step at a time basis, and finding things to give myself to reward myself, to substitute, to give myself the pat on the back for having made that decision, affirming my decision with little thoughts and rewards. Another example is that I actually gave up all alcohol and coffee for a 7 year period. I made the decision at the time that it wasn't serving me, and that I was concerned about acidity in my body. And for a number of reasons, I just felt that this was something that I needed to do for me. And so for 7 years, I did it exactly the same way. I simply said, I'm not going to drink those beverages today. Now, I ended up bringing coffee and wine back into my life, and I like to have a glass of wine and I like to have a cup of coffee in the morning. But it isn't something that runs me. I run it. There's a difference. It's that when you feel like your life is out of control, when you feel overwhelmed, then it's that time when you're ready for change, when the pain of remaining the same is finally greater than the fear of something new. That's when we embrace change. It's not when everything's going along fine. It's in the struggle, it's in the difficult times that we're ready to make changes in our lives. So now those are things that I said no to. And then what did I say yes to? 15 years ago, I made the decision to become much healthier than I'd ever been. I was struggling with my weight. I wasn't sleeping well. I had a lot of discomfort in my body when I was sleeping. I had very little strength. I didn't like the way I felt or looked. I was uncomfortable, in my clothing, nothing fit. I was starting to really feel my age. And I made the decision to do a couple of things at that time. I decided to start doing something called intermittent fasting, as well as nutritional supplementation. and I switched over to having very healthy products that were protein shakes, collagen, different things, knowing as a healer, knowing my own body and what it thrives on versus what what sets me back. So 15 years ago, I made this decision to to be proactive with my health, to invest in my health, to make a decision around going and getting regular exercise, to eating healthier, to supplementing, to having different rituals around meditation and reading and sleep, all things part of a holistic lifestyle, including chiropractic. And as a result, I dropped almost 40 pounds, have kept it off ever since. I developed muscle. I mean, I've gone through different stages, building even further as the years have gone by. And I look at what others are doing, and I know that I have a simple way of helping people embrace change with the tiny steps. Treat it as a journey, not a destination. Think of all the other areas in your life where you understand that you must fall in love with process. I mean, I'm a knitter. I look at an end game, which is a beautiful shawl or scarf or something that I'm making. And so I have a game plan, a goal of what I want to achieve. But I have to also enjoy the act of knit one, purl one, and whatever else. I have to love the texture of working with yarn, of understanding that there's times where I have to unravel everything and start over because I made a mistake a ways back. And the only way I'm going to be able to fix that one is to actually pull it all out. And I accept that it's a journey and a process. This is true in all areas of your life that are worthwhile, that are meaningful, that have purpose. And it's true for loving on others, of being your best, of making a difference in the world. Jeff and I have an expression that we say to each other, and that is, I'll take care of me for you. You take care of you for me. And so we take responsibility for being the healthiest, happiest versions of ourselves so that we can be the gift to each other. And so often people rely on others for their happiness. It must come from within. You must become and take responsibility for becoming your own happy self, that you choose your state. So learning how to be able to do that on a regular basis when life gets in the way, and believe me, life is going to throw all kinds of curveballs at us every day. It's learning how to be able to hit the reset button physically, emotionally, financially, all those different areas. If this is on your heart this year, is to become a new version of yourself, a better version of yourself, and you're doing it so that you can be healthy and be of service to others, to be the best version of yourself, then I applaud you. And I'm here to cheer you on, to champion you, and support you with a simple system of understanding how transformation occurs.